Insurance Queen things to know for exam quest. Coverage F. Medical payments not at fault usually only $3,000 to $12,000. For commercial, how much is fire department services? $2,500. Workers' comp covers all of the following except legal fees for suing the employer. What kind of a loss is it when you stay at a hotel after your house is burned down? Indirect loss. When was the Disaster Protect Act passed? 1973. Who is legally bound by a policy? Insurer. If you start selling insurance in Texas and continue to sell in Texas, what does that make you? Domestic equals means the insurer is incorporate and selling in this state. What if you are an insurance agent and your client has a weird home that is made out of straw bale structure? You at least give them a renters to cover their stuff. For which type of coverage is personal property and liability automatically included? Homeowners. The company is in Texas but they are selling in Arizona. What does that make them? Foreign means the insurer is selling in this state but they are incorporate in a different state. How much is outdoor property for chimerical radio, fence, tree, shrub, sign? $2,500 in total, $1,000 per one thing. Who is named first? First named insured. What makes HO2 and HO3 different? The walls on the roof are open on in HO3. Is additional insured on the declarations page? No, but is it added by endorsements? Added in regard to a specific interest. Additional insured, mortgage/lien holder added via an endorsement in regard to a specific interest. What is different between HO3 and HO5? HO5 is open all the way around, and that is why HO5 is the best policy you can get. Out of dwelling and homeowners, which does not include theft. Dwelling. My business card saying licensed agent before I get my PNC licensed and customers believe is an example of. Apparent authority is assumed by the customer, also known as perceived authority. What is the minimum amount of coverage for an umbrella policy? $500,000. What part of the policy lists the rules a customer has to follow? Conditions. Coverage C. Personal property/contents, not attached to the house, 50% of A, couching, clothing. Which home numbers are open perils? 3 and 5. Theft. Act of stealing, both burglary and robbery. You added this endorsement to your policy. What does it mean? Your premium has went up. What part of the policy lists the duties of the insurer? Conditions. B by Seagulf. Bursting of heating systems, burglary, damage, breaking of water heaters, ice, snow, or sleet, collapse of building or part of a building, electrical damage, glass breakage, objecting, falling from outside, leakage of water or stream damage, freezing of plumbing. Write your own WYO program. No risk bearing basis. You buy flood with Allstate. They are giving you a government policy with their name on it. When does a flood policy start? 12:01 a.m. Part C, uninsured/underinsured motorist. Pays to you when the person who hit you doesn't have any or enough of Part A to cover your bills. You have to buy extended coverage perils, EXP, before you can add what on a DP1. VM&M. What is a flood and what is not a flood? Mudslide is a flood, not a flood, landslide and backing up of sewers. How long of a waiting period is there for flood / 30-day waiting? For your home, if the fire department comes, how much does it cost? $500 service charges. Coverage E. Liability at fault, Doji bites me, usually at minimum $100,000, which whole policy has a $1,000 theft limit. Ho 8. Subrogation. The process by which an insurer can, after it has paid a loss under the policy, recover the amount paid from any party, other than the insured, who caused the loss or is otherwise legally liable for the loss. For BOP additional coverages, how much is it for newly acquiring property if it's a building? $250,000. Coverage A. Dwelling service, the property, lawn mower, materials and supplies next to the house that will become part of the house. You originally pay $30,000 for something and the replacement cost is $40,000. How much will you get? $40,000. Part D, damage to your auto. Pays to fix your car, collision, hitting something, not animals, other than collision, everything else, flood, deer, Mother Nature, etc., does not cover person, property, laptop stolen in car. Does umbrella insurance pay for your property or others? It pays for other people's. If an insurance company is admitted, what does that mean? They are authorized. Certificate of authority allows insurers to sell in the state, making them admitted and authorized. Under commercial valuable records and paperwork, how much is that? $10,000. Which policy is ACV? DP1. What is the 2-2-2 rule of flood? 2. Walls and roof not entirely over water. 2 or more acres. 2 or more properties. How do you know you have a personal property coverage on a dwelling policy / You have a premium charge for it. Part A, liability. Pays to other people that you crashed into. What party of the policy lists the obligations of the insurer? Conditions. What is a deductible on an umbrella? Sir, self-insured retention. If the insured does not pay a premium, what happens to the policy? The policy is cancelled. If you have workers' comp and you work in another state, how do you know if the state is covered? If the state is listed on 3A, it is covered. What are the two main exclusions from special homeowners Ho 3? Earth movement and water damage / flood. What is a mortgagee? Who you make your payments to? When did the National Flood Insurance Program start? 1968. Part E, duties after a loss. Specifies the rules that you need to follow after an accident. Coverage B. Other structures, building in backyard, 10% of A, detached garage, robbery. Rob was there threatening damage. Part F, general provisions. Explains the rules that the insurance company follows. If your community has the 3 community requirements that most you can get on your house is what? $250,000 limit for flood. Burglary. Break-in, causing damage. Coverage D. Loss of use, 30% of A, fair rental and additional living, hotel when your house burns down. Part B, medical payments. Pays medical bills for you and the passenger in your car. Limits are on the smaller side, dollar per person, good for 3 years. Under homeowners, how are trees covered? Covered at 5% of A, 10% of C for 4 or 6, $500 per tree. Ho 8 only gets $250. If you have 5 trees you will get up to 5% of A. Which Ho numbers are named perils? Even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8. Which is the best dwelling policy you can have? DP3. Flood has what 3 community requirements? Floodplain mapping, floodplain management, insurance. A fire in the kitchen would be what kind of loss? Direct loss, the physical damage to property. What property policy does not cover trees? DP1. What perils come under ECP, extended covered perils? In a DP1, add them by extended coverage perils: wharves, wind, hail, aircraft, riot, volcano, explosion, smoke. For a vacant house, when do you officially lose coverage? 61 days, no people and no stuff.